The October 18th, 2021 Columbus City Council meeting will now come to order. In compliance with Open Meeting Act, Nebraska Revised Statute 84-1407, a current copy of this act is posted in the meeting room. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Bulkley.
Here.
Augustine Schulte.
Here.
Barr.
Here.
Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski.
Here.
Kreshaw. Lohr.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Mrs. Council President.
Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other, as well as to all our citizens. Amen. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. If at any time during tonight's council meeting anyone in our audience would like to come forth and address an item on our agenda, we'd ask that you please come to the podium, give your name and address, and we'd ask that you keep any comments you have to 5 minutes or less. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Item 4, consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a City Council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 4A, minutes of the October 4th, 2021 City Council meeting. Item 4B, a reappointment of Jean Knapp to the Columbus Housing Authority for a 5-year term. Item 4C, resolution number R21-134, approving the request to Northeast Nebraska Economic Development District to extend the completion date of Community Development Block Grant number 19-DTR-101 for downtown revitalization to November 20th, 2022. Item 4D, resolution number R21-135, approving the use of Pawnee Park to camp overnight on Friday, June 10th and Saturday, June 11th for the annual Antique Tractor and Gas Engine Show. Item 4E, resolution number R21-136, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. Item 4F, Finance Department reports, and item 4G, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and Council, is there anything you would like removed from consent status?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to public hearings.
Item 7A, public hearing, application of Westwood Edition LLC for final plat and development agreement of Riverside 3rd Edition. This is west of the intersection of 17th Street and 49th Avenue. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Is there anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Is there anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 7A1, public hearing, determine whether Riverside 3rd Edition should be included within the corporate city limits. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Is there anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes. Sorry.
Item 7A2, resolution number R21-137, approving the final plat and development agreement and bringing said addition into the corporate city limits.
I just have a question. My copy shows there's an addition handwritten in here. There's no initials on who put it in. Should that be necessary? It says, page 2, it says whereas said, and I believe it says, whatever that says. Want to show?
Jean must have added that in there for us to add that into, probably to replace the page, I bet. We got this last minute late, so
So
he signed it.
do we need somebody to authenticate that, or is that?
It's on this original, and then we'll type it in there the way it's supposed to be.
You guess, or we know?
Well, I feel, what do you think? Okay.
So,
I've done this before. Yeah, it is. It's handwriting. I recognize it.
Make the recommendation as approved with the,
Changes that,
with the changes.
we'll make recommend approval with the changes that the city attorney has noted on there, is what Neil said.
Okay.
Okay?
I move for the adoption of resolution number R21-137 with the approval of the city attorney's corrections. Is that correct?
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution with the handwritten notes and the approval of the city attorney. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
Passed.
There you go.
Motion passes.
Item 7B, public hearing, application of NE Columbus Propco LLC to rezone property located at 1112 15th Street from R3 Multiple Family Residential District to B2 General Commercial District. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Is there anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion?
Can we have somebody explain what we're doing here?
We sure can.
Mr. Curtis, I thought I saw him walk in. Oh, Dan, you want to explain? Oops.
Yes, you've got in front of you an application to go to B2, and the next item on there will be a special use permit to allow a non-commercial shelter in a B2 zone. The reason for the rezoning is a non-commercial shelter can only go in a B2 zone. And then if that's approved, then it'll come up for the non-commercial.
The shelter you're talking about is for living,
Correct.
apparently, okay.
Correct.
Okay, I was a little confused.
Yes.
I wasn't,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
And then
So,
just,
so I was just gonna say, to clarify this for the public, this would be a move from our shelter here downtown behind City Hall to what used to be Maurice Haven.
It would be the,
that
it
correct?
would be those individuals.
Yes.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was
Councilwoman?
gonna say.
Okay.
Yep.
And that, Maurice Haven, of course, has been vacant a long time and
Yep.
needs a lot of repair work.
Great, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
Yes, it,
Motion passes.
Item 7B1, ordinance number 21-35, approving the rezoning.
Who's got it?
John?
I can't find it on here. Okay. I move that the rules be suspended and ordinance number 21-35 be read by number only.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
wait just a second, I have to go back and open it up.
Passed it.
No, not that one. He must have.
I think we already,
Okay.
according to what we have on our screen, it's already been
It is,
passed.
okay, all voted aye.
Motion passes.
Ordinance number 21-35.
I move for the adoption of ordinance number 21-35.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 21-35. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7C, public hearing application of any Columbus Propco LLC for special use permit to allow a non-commercial shelter in a B2 general commercial district zone at 1112 15th Street. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7C1, ordinance number 21-36, approving the special use permit.
Mr. Mayor, I move the rules be suspended and ordinance number 21-36 be read by number only.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 21-36. Any discussion? I would just add to anyone listening and anyone in the public that all of this was vetted very well at the planning and zoning meeting. Those in attendance, there was one or two neighbors that spoke and just asked a question or two. Nobody in opposition. So I think it's been well received as far as the public has been so far. So good luck as we move forward. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 21-36.
I move ordinance number 21-36 be adopted. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 21-36. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. See y'all.
We've been abandoned.
We go on to reports of council committees.
Item 10A, Public Finance, Judiciary, and Personnel Committee of October 12th, 2021. Item 10A1, Review of Additional Options for Employee Health Insurance Coverage. The Public Finance, Judiciary, and Personnel Committee recommends to the Mayor and Council that the city employees who are eligible for health benefits be offered the 3 options for health coverage as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I move the report be adopted.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this committee report. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 10B, Committee of the Whole of October 18th, 2021. Item 10B1, changes to the organizational structure of the fire department. The Committee of the Whole recommends to the Mayor and Council that the changes to the fire department organizational structure be approved as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this committee report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this committee report. Any discussion?
Just a question for the city. Do I need to abstain since I wasn't at the meeting?
No, you don't.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to let the public know, if they did not pay attention to the committee of the whole, that we presented a very well-vetted proposal of changing the fire department as we move forward. We've talked not only with our paid staff, but we've also had meetings with all the volunteer groups. And we presented it, as I said earlier, to the committee of the whole. So I believe we've done a great job of laying out the concerns, laying out the framework of moving forward, and it will be a work in progress and take time as we do this, but I think it will ensure the safety of our community and the growth of our fire department as our community continues to grow. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to new business.
Item 13A, appointment of Sherry Boucher to the Senior Center Advisory Board for a 3-year term.
Council members, the mayor would like to appoint Sherry Boucher for the Senior Center Advisory Board for a 3-year term. Sherry Boucher has been a resident of Columbus since 1974. She worked for PCA and a local bank until retirement. She was involved with newcomers for several years and has served on the Friends of Music Board. Sherry has been involved in school activities at Columbus Public Schools, where her children attended, and at Lakeview, where her husband Bill taught for 34 years. They have one granddaughter who is a senior at Doane University. Sherry enjoys playing bridge, reading, working in the yard, sailing, and recently line dancing. She has spent much of her time the past few years caring for her husband and has found the support groups through the Senior Center to be a wonderful source of support. Council members, we need a motion to ratify this appointment, please.
So moved.
I move that the mayor's appointment be ratified.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to ratify this appointment. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13B, request for partial reconveyance to Habitat for Humanity of Columbus, Nebraska Incorporated for Lot 1, Block A and Lot 1, Block B, New Hope Second Subdivision, 41st Avenue, between 13th and 14th Streets.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the request for a partial reconvenience to Habitat for Humanity be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant the partial reconveyance to Habitat for Humanity. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13C, application of Stephen Rawmakers, Granville Custom Homes Incorporated for preliminary plat of Shady Lake Meadows Second Subdivision in the vicinity of 23rd Street and 57th Avenue. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that the preliminary plat of Shady Lake Meadows Second Subdivision be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the preliminary plat of Shady Lake Meadow Second Subdivision. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13D, public hearing, application of Stephen Rawmakers, Granville Custom Homes Incorporated for final plat and development agreement of Shady Lake Meadows Second Subdivision in the vicinity of 23rd Street and 57th Avenue. The Planning Commission recommends approval. Public hearing.
We have a public hearing. Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Thank you. Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I recommend public hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13D1, resolution number R21-138, approving the final plat and development agreement.
Mr. Mayor, move that resolution number R21-138 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R21-138. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13E, comments from the mayor and city council members. In compliance with the Open Meetings Act, no discussion may be held on this item.
Any council members have comments this evening? All I would say is anyone watching, the public watching this evening might notice that Councilman Creshaw is not with us. He is recovering from a broken hip, and so we send him our wishes and encourage a speedy recovery so he can get back with us. All right, we'll move on to resolutions.
Item 14A, resolution number R21-139, approving the grant agreement with Columbus Area Chamber of Commerce in an amount not to exceed $85,000 for engaging retail strategies and its downtown strategies division for retail recruitment and downtown development using economic development 840 funds as recommended by the Citizens Advisory Review Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number R21-139 be approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve resolution R21-39. Any discussion? I think it's important to point out that this is really exciting, that we're spending some money on the possibility and looking at trying to draw in retail development with a company that's got a track record of doing this in other communities. We are constantly being challenged with why don't we have this and why don't we have that and what could we do to get this and what could we do to get that. Well, this is a great starting point. So we take a chance and look at what we can do and roll the dice and let's see if we get some favorable returns. So with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinances on their first reading. Item 15A, ordinance number 21-37, amending ordinance number 21-30, rezoning of property on 17th Street west of 49th Avenue to correct the legal description.
Mr. Mayor, I move the rules be suspended and ordinance number 21-37 be read by number only.
Second.
Motion and a second to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 21-37 by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 21-37.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 21-37.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 21-37. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to consideration of payroll and bills on file.
Item 18A, ARL Credit Services.
Mr. Mayor, I ask to be excused from voting on this agenda item because I have a conflict of interest because I'm owner of ARL Credit Services.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Councilmember Jablonski be allowed to abstain from voting on this agenda item and to suspend the city council rules requiring him to leave the council chambers during the discussion and vote on this agenda item.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
I move that we pay, no.
Mr. Mayor.
Move, but I can't vote, right?
Mayor, I move that the bill from ARL Credit Services be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bill from ARL Credit Services. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
Is this for next week or what?
I think I voted twice, but that's okay.
I think I did too. I abstained and voted at the same time. We'll let her sort it out.
Did you abstain?
Uh-oh, default.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.